Hi everyone, I'm MaryAnn. I'm a visual artist from Singapore, currently in Singapore, and welcome to another installment of my weekly vlog series, Live Your Dream. So this is where I share what I'm learning in my journey so far as an artist, as a person who is all about creating a worthy and meaningful purpose for myself and living the best life that only I can live. And I want to share what I am learning in my journey so far as a way of inspiring, motivating, encouraging you as you go about on your journey towards your dreams and pursue your passion and find whatever purpose that is meaningful and worthwhile for you in this one life that only you can live. So wherever you are in your journey, I am here to share something that I've learned this past week, and at the very least you know that by me showing up here week after week sharing something, you know that you are not alone in your journey. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the comments, or you can also write to me through any one of my social media links which are in the write-ups attached to these videos. So last week I gave my very first school talk, well, not like to an entire school, but to two classrooms of like 30 12-year-old students in Singapore, over 2 mornings. And this is an initiative sort of organized by their parent-teacher association in the school, where they get, parents of different professions to come and talk to the kids about what this profession is about, what this job is about. And one of the parents is my university friend, and so none of them are artists, and so he decided that he would invite me to come and speak to the kids about being an artist, so something interesting outside of what they would normally hear. So when he brought this up to me and invited me to come and speak to these classes, I immediately wanted to say no, because what kicked in at once was this sense of like imposter syndrome, because I felt that as an artist I am not where I want to be. There's a lot of confusion and uncertainty in my journey at the moment, and so I just felt that I'm not in the best place to be giving this kind of talk to kids and to like inspire them. So I wanted to say no, but I thought about it and I realized that one of the things that I want to do is to be able to give such live your dreams kind of talk to people, hopefully one day a TED Talk. That's my dream, and if I don't start here, then where am I going to start, right? So I said yes, and I decided I would just figure it out as I go along. And let me tell you, even though it's a 1 hour talk to like 12-year-old kids, I struggled the hell out of it. I spent like an entire day trying to put together my script and my PowerPoint slides, and I struggled with it so much because I just kept feeling like an imposter. I just kept feeling like, who am I to be talking to these kids? Like, I'm not anyone famous. I'm not exactly financially successful as an artist yet. I'm not even doing my dream project, which is to paint 100 dream tree murals around the world. I've been trying to figure out for the past year and a half what kind of artist I am, because ever since COVID and being stuck here in Singapore, it's like, what am I doing with my life as an artist? And so I just really felt like I'm not qualified to give this talk about what an artist's job is supposed to be like. But intellectually at the same time, I also knew that it really shouldn't be that difficult. And so from this process I learned a few things about imposter syndrome and basically how to deal with it, at least in the context of giving a talk, or giving this talk to these 12-year-old students. So that's the premise of what I'm going to share today. So the first thing that I realized about imposter syndrome and how to deal with it is that, first of all, we have to acknowledge that is exactly what you're feeling at that point in time. So whatever it is that you want to do in your dream, whether it's to give a talk or do a certain project or to share something with someone else, and you're feeling like you're not qualified, the first thing is to recognize that you are feeling that way. Because that's the first step to overcoming anything, pretty much. It's recognizing that that is exactly what we're feeling right now. And going a step deeper to understand and acknowledge to ourselves exactly what is it that's causing this sense of inadequacy, or this sense of being an imposter. So it's going to be different for everyone, because you are a unique individual with your own set of life experiences. And so it takes a little bit of digging sometimes to see where this sense of not qualified or inadequate or imposter comes from. So for me, I am the kind of person that tends to have this ideal scenario of what I would like things to be like, and I also have this ideal way of seeing myself. And so, I have this also ideal thinking that if I were to give a talk to inspire people to live their dreams, I have to have reached a certain status in my career and in living my dreams. And because I'm currently not feeling like I'm at that place, I'm therefore not qualified. And and so that is one of the things that gets me feeling like an imposter, that because I'm currently not there, wherever there is for me, that ideal state, I'm therefore not qualified. And so once I recognized that, I was able to put that aside, and to see very clearly that, okay, you're speaking to 12-year-old kids here. It's not like a TED talk, okay? It's not like you are, speaking to like the art world of how to be an artist, or like to fine art graduates about the life of being an artist. You're speaking to 12-year-olds, okay? Like literally anything you say, they would just accept it, and they would probably just listen to it and buy into it. So I didn't really have a lot to worry about. But at the same time, there was also this fear in me, because if they're going to hang on every single word I say, then I better be saying the right words. So that was another thing that also triggered the imposter syndrome. That, what if I say the wrong things, and, what if I can't back up what I'm saying? Which then leads me to the second thing that I learned about imposter syndrome, and how to deal with it. It's that you have to share only from what you know. You cannot share something that you don't know. You cannot share something that you haven't lived yet. But you have a wealth of experiences that you have already been through. You have accomplishments that you have already done. You have achieved certain possibilities that you used to think was impossible. And that is the place where you share from. What you've already known, what you've already been through. Like the process that you have already dealt with and figured out a way to achieve something successfully. Basically, you cannot share something if you have not walked the talk. But there's already talk that you have walked, so share what you have already done. So as I was going through my previous work as an artist and in preparing for this presentation, because I didn't want to just limit to, the projects that I'm working on currently, or the projects that I feel most for, I wanted to give them a sense also of what the journey is like. And part of that journey for me has been exploring different art forms and exploring different kinds of projects in order to figure out what it is that I really want. And that became an important theme throughout my presentation. The idea of staying open to explore different things, to experience different things in order to figure out what is most right for you. And that has pretty much been the theme of my entire journey. And so when I was looking through my previous artworks, I realized that this is something that I can share. I can share some of the projects that I've done before that I think are really interesting and that I never ever thought that I would do as an artist. But because I did them, it gave me more insights into who I am as an artist, and eventually led to me starting my 100 Dream Tree mural project around the world. And so that was the trajectory of my sharing then, when it came to sharing about my journey with these kids. Share what you already know, share what you have already been through, come from a place of having, walked the talk, and where you have already practiced what you're preaching, because that gives a certain level of certainty, a certain level of confidence, and a certain level of authenticity, that you know what you're talking about. And because you know what you're talking about, that sense of imposter thing would just, it would just fly out the window. Which then brings me to my final thing about dealing with imposter syndrome. A lot of times, why we have imposter syndrome is because, like I said, we have this idea of where we're supposed to be. And sometimes that comes from comparing ourselves with other people who are a little bit further down the road, or many, many miles further down the road, and they have already achieved a certain level of success. One of the things that I hear in my head when it comes to imposter syndrome is like, who am I to be giving this talk? Like, I'm not, insert name of famous artist, and thinking that, I have to reach that level in order to be able to give this talk. But actually that's not true, because ultimately every single one of us, no matter where you are in your journey right now, you are unique as an individual. You have your own unique set of experiences. And a talk given by you is never ever going to be the same as a talk given by insert name of famous artist or famous whoever you want to be. And yes, even though they may have more experience, even though they may have more accomplishments, maybe they are further down the road, so what? Because at the end of the day, your experiences are no less important than theirs. And whatever it is that you have to share with your audience, no matter who your audience are, is no less important than what these accomplished individuals have to share with an audience. What matters then is not about your qualifications or their qualifications or how you're not there yet. What really matters then, right there and then in that moment, is your audience. And this audience is going to come and listen to you, and they're going to want to learn from you. And then it is your job then to ensure that they get the best possible experience that you can give. And that's all that really matters. At the very least, you are a little bit more qualified than they are. And you are sharing from that. You're sharing from having walked a little bit further down the road than they have. They just want to hear from someone who has been a little bit further down than them. And that's where it comes back again to sharing from what you have already done, sharing from what you have already accomplished, sharing from what you have already been through, because then it gives them a realistic idea of what it could be like for them, having heard from someone who has already been through that journey. So to recap, the 3 things I learned about dealing with imposter syndrome from this experience is that, first of all, you have to acknowledge where this sense of, being unqualified or not good enough or not there yet comes from, and identify it and basically acknowledge it for what it is, know that it is what it is, and just, put it aside, leave it aside. Second of all, you want to share from a place of what you already know, what you've already been through, what you have already accomplished, because that gives a sense of authenticity when you are speaking to your audience. And third of all, recognizing that you are your own person and the talk that you're going to give is never ever going to be the same. Neither is it going to be like better or worse than someone else who's more experienced and more qualified than you, because you are 2 completely different individuals. And what really matters then is what your audience is going to get from your talk, and how do you give the best possible experience to your audience. So if you have enjoyed today's video, subscribe to my channel on YouTube, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the comments, or you can also write to me through any one of my social media links which you see in the write-ups attached to these videos, and I will see you next week.